So Gewürztraminer is, as I've said many times, a wine that some people love or they don't like at all. And it's because, one, it's very hard to find the stylistic approach that a winemaker takes to this varietal that you might like, because it offers such a wide array of options. Now, first and foremost, as it ripens, it's one of the earlier ripening varietals in the Finger Lakes. And there's this curve where, as sugar accumulates, acid drops off. Some people prefer a style where it is harvested very late with very high sugar accumulation and very low acid, and as a result produces a very rich, heavy, higher alcohol style of Gewürztraminer. Some people, like myself, prefer a slightly more lean approach that still captures what is great about Gewürztraminer without being overpowering. So we tend to pick a little bit earlier in the season once it's ripe. I pick this around 20 to 21 and a half bricks. That's around where I pick my Rieslings, and it gives us a total alcohol in this wine of 11.7%. The other thing that happens with Gewürztraminer is people will make decisions as to how long they want to allow the juice to soak with the skins of this varietal. Now, when you do that, you release all of these extra flavors, and sometimes they can be wonderful, and sometimes they can be overpowering. Gewürztraminer is famously compared to the perfume that maybe your grandmother would have worn. It's very floral, it can be domineering, it can bounce right out of the glass aromatically. But again, I like to take a little bit more of a lean approach. So this specific vintage, 2016, was a hot year. In hot years, I do almost no cold soaking with Gewürztraminer. In cooler years, where I might not have quite as ripe a fruit, or I might have more acid than I like, I will opt for a cold soak regimen. So this one was direct pressed, stainless steel tank, fermented cool and very clean, and stopped a little early just to preserve a touch of residual sugar, though I still classify this as a dry wine. So let's take a look. On the nose, the lychee is right there. It is unmistakably Gewürztraminer, but I also get some notes that I really like with this wine. There's some banana bread. There's almost this touch of walnut, that baked goodness. I get a little bit of mango, a little bit of tropical fruit, but not the kind of tropical fruit that makes you think of it as being zingy. So not pineapple, maybe along the lines of like a star fruit. But this beautiful warm character that just bounces out of the glass. And again, that's not alcohol. That's probably a combination of some of the longer lees aging that we did with this wine to develop some of those autolytic components, those flavors that come from the yeast cells breaking down and releasing additional amino acids and proteins into the wine. That can give it a little bit of that brioche note. It's also aging just exquisitely. So this isn't an old wine by any means. It's 2016, but these couple years in the bottle have done this wine really well. Now, on the palate, a lot of those same aromatic profile, they come right through. I think we made a really good picking decision with this wine because it's not acidic, but it balances with some of that fullness and that flavor really well. So it still maintains a backbone. There is still a linear direction to this particular Gewürztraminer, but it is not acidic. It is not citrus dominated. It just sort of floats there in the background. Again, that decision to leave just a couple grams of residual sugar just sort of elevates the flavor. It helps to, I think, accentuate a lot of those base fruit notes that are there. You know, Gewürztraminer is usually considered the perfect pairing with things like Indian curry or Thai red or Thai green curry. And I do that a lot. that's probably one of my favorite pairings. I love making red curry, and I love pairing Gewürztraminer in general, but this specific vintage of Gewürz with it. But it's also considered the quintessential Thanksgiving wine. And it's because when you're sitting at your Thanksgiving table, you've got so many different foods. And think about it, from the crisp, acidic, tart nature of cranberries to the full, just mashed potatoes and gravy and turkey. All of these different flavor combinations play really well. And Gewürz is unique because it can really help accentuate all of those different foods. So not a single Thanksgiving goes by where we don't have this on the table. And our family loves making turkey dinners. So we oftentimes have it throughout the year as a early or late Thanksgiving pairing.